how to play Guilders Life in Shaows, the turn sequence, and beats. In this video, I'm gonna go over how the turn sequence is in Guilders is organized, and the different phases through a turn, and explain the concept of beats that's unique to Guilders and has influence on the NPC AI, mainly how the guards react to the players during the. For this video, I've made a small setup like in a game of Guilders. There is a couple of NPC guards, some characters from the first player, a few characters from the second player, and a bit of civilians in the middle. We'll use these to explain the different phases of the turn. Each turn in Guilders starts off with the initiative phase, where each guildmaster, each player rolls to see who gets to start taking actions in that turn. It's a simple test. Each player, each guildmaster rolls a d10, adds their savvy attribute and any extra skill points from being a good experienced leader. Highest roll wins. Draws is a re-roll or tie break by a skill called leadership. The player rolling highest starts to activate one of their characters. Each character can do 2 actions per activation. Saying the player here to the right had 1 initiative, this thug could activate first, take a simple movement action, and a second movement action wanting to get up and beat the other guys. He's now activated. He can't do anything more before the next turn. After he's been activated, we place a counter on him to show he's activated, and it says here beat 10 plus because he's the first to activate. I'll get back to it in a second. Then goes the second player, could move his thief into base contact with the thug as 1 action. Would initiate a fight perhaps. They roll it out. We'll make a video about fights later on. That was his second action. For the sake of this introduction, the fight is a stalemate, so they both stand there. This would what we in the game call a beat. Both players have activated a character, and it's the first activation during the turn, so that would be beat 10 plus. Before the player with the initiative activates their second character, we will have to roll the dice to see if the city guards take their turn out of order and take their actions right now. You roll a d10. The target to roll is 10 plus. This time it's a 6. So the guards don't intervene, and the first player gets to activate their second miniature. This character activates, walks up to a crowd, tries to steal something from them. It doesn't work. They scream of him, push him back, and they cause some alarm. He would now be in trouble with the guards. That's his 2 actions. We put an activation counter next to him. That's speed number 9 plus. The second player can then activate their second miniature. Moving down here, that would be their second activation. We put an activation counter on them. That's the 9 plus. Our activations are over. This time the beat is 9 plus. We roll a d10. See if the guards activate now or later. Game pass back and forth like this. Each player has activates 1 character, does up to 2 actions. Second player, activate a character, do 2 actions, roll to see does the guards come. First beat, it's 10 plus, 9 plus, 8 plus, 7, 6, and 5. And after 5, there is constantly a 50-50 chance because it never gets lower than 5 plus. So after that, it's just 5 plus. Both players activate a character, 5 plus to check for god intervention, and so on. The gods will then at some point activate. We've only tried a couple of times where we've actually managed to play all the player characters without the gods actually taking their turn and intervening. Whichever comes first, either you roll high enough above the beat number, or you get to the alarm phase where the gods activate. In the alarm phase, the gods, all gods on the board will activate, and they will react on whatever alarm and noise there is. So if a character has tried to rob some civilians, getting caught in the act, it causes alarm. That would force the guards to react, and their AI mechanic would force them towards the alarm. There'll be more on how alarm works and guards react in a separate how to play video. But this alarm phase, it will come either in the middle of gameplay while characters, because you sometimes you'll find yourself in a situation where you only both activated one miniature, you roll a 10, the guards take their turn. Or you activate a couple of characters, you get to beat number 7 before the guards intervene and take their turn, or you're lucky and move all your characters before the guards activate. This causes a very interesting mechanic in the game because you can't play around the guards. You don't know at which point during a turn they might come and cause trouble. So sometimes you need to do some messy work first, causing some noise, because you want something that take their attention when they do activate, or you're finding yourself in a situation where it's very, very important that the guards intervene and take their turn because you have some shady business you want to do safely after they've activated. After the alarm phase is the NPC phase, where all the remaining characters, the civilians, move in the city. It's a super quick and simple way of doing it. Each civilian unit, be it a single miniature or a crowd, you roll a d10, use the d10 as a pointer, so this crowd would move 1 inch that way. That civilian up there would move 6 inches this way. It's super quick to move them around because they're alive in the city. And then you get to the end of turn phase. The end of turn phase is where you clean the board, summon new gods. Each turn, new gods will arrive in the city. As long as the players haven't caused too much alarm or too much noise, a single town watch with a quarterstaff will arrive at some random point in the city. The more alarm the players cause during the game, doing illegal activities, smashing down doors, fighting in the streets, the tension in the city will rise, and there will be higher and better gods summoned. The gods are spawned onto the board at the board edges, depending on where in the board there's alarm. After that, you clean off any other tokens, you remove the alarm from the board, you count up how much was on there, it goes into something called overall alertness, so that stack every turn. The quality of the gods summoned in each end phase is based on how much of an alarm has been done in the prior turns. So you clean the board, new gods on the board, there's no tokens around, roll for initiative. One player gets the initiative, activates a miniature, next player activates a miniature, that's the beat, 10 plus, see if the guards take their turn, 9 plus, both activate, see if the guard takes their turn, play through, at some point the guards take their turn, it's the alarm phase, they move around, they react to all the alarm. Players continue to move their characters, NPCs will move, summon new gods, clean the board. But it's an interesting mechanic that you do not know when the gods will react to whatever is going on the board. making it harder to play around the fairly simple AI that is the guards. So that's the turn sequence of Guilders A Life in Shadows. Each turn is made up initiative phase, activations with the players, an alarm phase where the guards react, an NPC phase for the civilians, and an end phase where you clean up the board and summon new guards. Every time each player has activated a character, we call it a beat. Me and my opponent both activate a miniature, that's a beat. Roll to see if guards come. Next time, that's a beat. If you're playing Guilders solo, because the rules have been written so you can play the game solo, every beat is a single miniature. I play solo against a game, I move a character, I roll to see if the guards intervene. Beat number 1. Next miniature, that's a beat. Thanks for watching this video on how the turn sequence in Guilders A Life in Shadows works. All resources for the game are linked below,